Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Echo. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io. But if you want to support the people that made this game and or get the newest version earlier, you can go to their Patreon, where it's $3 a month to get the newest games earlier. I think I'm doing pretty well right now. I've been doing well for a while. Like, emotionally haven't been that good, but now I got a new keyboard, hands out for cast, so everything's good. So, yeah, we're happy. Unlike the main characters right here, who are all now, the prisoner of this drug addict kingpin. It do be like that, sometimes. But hey, at least I'm happy. Hyena. But yeah, to recap completely the previous Let's Play, we found Carl in an obtruse way. Basically, this guy was getting the bad guy to say we found Carl or something like that, but it wasn't actually that. It was him. He knocked us all out, and then Carl was on the table. I don't know how he found Carl in the first place, because he just kind of ran off and somehow ended up here for a couple of days, being strangled and stuff like that. But now it's me. Oh, Carl left with Clint, but now it's me, Leo, and Jenna here, which leaves only TJ and Flynn out there, but they're still looking for them for some reason. I'm guessing they're all doing the thing that they did on the last series, where it's, hey, things are getting messy, and things are going crazy, but we think you guys are the key to it. Anyways, reset my face. How long was that recap? Oh, 2 minutes, just like an anime episode. Slowly, he turns his head back towards us. A light smile crosses his muzzle. As his dark eyes meet Micah's own, his grin widens. Oh yeah, they also have Micha here. Hey, Micha. Micha opens his mouth to speak, but nothing comes out. The bat just gulps wordlessly as Brian walks over and socks him in the chest. The little bat doubles over, nearly cracking his skull on the edge of the kitchen countertop on his way down. Jenna gasps. See, one would think your prissy, God-loving folks would taught ye some manners, proper manners when around guests. The bear squints down at the crumpled bat, inspecting him to see if he did any real serious damage. At the very least, Keith shoulda. Brian leans down, expecting some sort of profanity-laden quip from the bat, but he's met with silence. Micah's furred form heaves. Furred? His maw stretching open against the dirty linoleum in a dry retch. The bear continues to watch over him like this, nudging him gently with his foot. No one says anything, and I can see Jenna doing her best not to draw attention to herself. It's quite a malaise, which throbs like my pulse, pounding against the too tight restraints. I need to look up that word malaise. The only other time I heard about it was Samurai Jack, the last season. Finally, he speaks. That's right, faggot. The bear begins to rifle through one of the mildewy kitchen cabinets and withdraws a pair of fuzzy white handcuffs. They're the kind of thing you'd see in one of those edgy mall gift shops for bondage play. Regardless of their intended use, also I should get one of those, I can see the glint of metal beneath the fur. They seem pretty solid. He fastens one cuff around Micah's thin wrist and opens one of the cabinets beneath the sink. With a quick tug, he jerks the bat's arm onto it. There's a sound of clicking metal, and then the other cuff is fastened. He must be securing him against the plumbing. Micha resists none of this, fearing further retribution from the bear. I've had a bit of scorpion problem under there. Make sure not to get stung. Brian's about to say something else, but stops as he spies something out of the window. One moment. The bear hustles outside without further words. Micha clutches his stomach, saying nothing. Jenna doesn't either. The only sound is the quiet groaning of Leo, and the clinking of metal on metal as we fiddle with our restraints. At that moment, I hear soft mumbling in the distance through the thin walls of the trailer. I freeze and hold my breath. It's a little ways off, but I'm almost positive it's Duke. The high, wheezly whine, mixed with the occasional smoker's cough, is unmistakable. It's coming closer, and I can start to make out what he's saying. Because we're already fucked here, you think we can just let him go, and it'll all be fine? I don't know who he's talking to, but the sound of an accompanying heavy lumbering step gives me an idea. It's worth it though, if we can figure out what the fuck's going on. It sounds like they're right up against the trailer now. I can hear them walking around it, towards a small door on the right side of the kitchen. Leo ain't saying shit yet, but I think it might be the otter. He's the one I've seen last week. The footsteps stop in front of the door, and I listen hard, my heart pounding in my chest. I hope you haven't done anything to him. Beyond what you've already done, that is. Was protecting my property the first time. Haven't done nothing further. Brian's uncharacteristically high-pitched voice sends a chill up my spine, my fur flaring out with it. You bet your ass you haven't. If you do, any of your fucked up shit with these kids. I stop breathing, staring at the ends of my feet. What I'm saying is still got a chance to get out of this. What we've done is bad enough, but if we can get him to understand. I stop talking, and that's when I hear Brian's heavy, labored breath. I'm not breathing at all, worried they'll be able to hear it, even though they already know I'm here. I let it out with a gasp as the door suddenly swings open and Duke comes up the steps, looking around before spotting the lot of us. Brian, you are one sick fuck. I tense up as the massive shadow appears behind him, and it feels like the entire trailer tips a bit as Brian makes his way up the same steps. Brian's presence is imposing and frightening, that I don't even notice Duke is now right next to me. I jump when he sits his hand on my left arm. I jerk my head to look at him, wide-eyed. Hey, calm down. We ain't gonna hurt you. Brian chuckles, and Duke shoots him a look. He turns his attention back to me, softening his expression, at least as much as he can, with his shaggy, drug-like face. I wonder what's gonna happen at the end of all this. Because, a bit of spoilers, but I've already done it and posted it, and it's been up for a while, and the game's been out for a while. No, Kudzu saves us, I think. And then there's this whole thing where we get kidnapped again, Duke leaves town, gets killed, we try to leave town, almost get killed. I get kidnapped by Brian again, and he gets killed by, some entity, and we all escape. Oh yeah, Flynn rescues us as well. And we all escape on some train. Hyena. Oop, sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. We just need to get some information from you. I open my mouth to speak, but all that comes out is a dry squeak. Brian chuckles again and makes his way to stand to my right. I cringe away from him and his stench of old sweat as he grins down at me with his yellow teeth. Despite all the others being here, The two seem especially focused on me. Brian, get some fucking water. Brian looks at Duke with a strange face before returning back to the kitchen. Hey, don't worry about him. I know his thing. Duke taps the metal collar around my neck with a finger. Looks bad, but we just gotta hold you here for a bit. The boys are queer. They like it. And the girlie is probably just like your wife. Jin is silent, daring not to provoke the two. Duke glares at him as Brian comes back from the kitchen with a ceramic mug. You're queer too. Brian visibly bristles, and his face loses any of his sick humor it once had. Duke clears his throat. Things have been happening here, and we want to find out why. What? Duke furrows his brows, like a kid trying to figure out something difficult. You see, people ain't right in the head here. No shit. I was thinking no shit, but then, yeah, it do be like that. A lot of the time here. Duke seems to immediately read my thoughts process, because he holds up his hands and shakes his head. Yeah, I know. What we're doing ain't exactly right in the head either. Brian gives his dumb chuckle again, but he keeps my face averted from him, partially because I really can't stand the smell. But we're all a little fucked up here. What I'm talking about is something else, like what's been going on with the townsfolk. Bad dreams, strange behavior. Sound familiar? I shift a little as I'm reminded about the past few days. Duke looks genuinely concerned. I look at the weasel's waistband and immediately see the handgun tucked into his pants there. And I was hoping it would stop before any of this happened. But now, everything's gone to shit. Brian finishes for him, and I can feel him move closer to the platform I'm lying on. Wait, I'm lying on? I thought we were on the floor. Anyways. Again, I avoid eye contact, not wanting to provoke him in any way. Yep, it ain't. It's only gonna get worse. Duke just looks at me, like that's all the information I need. I don't know what you're talking about. I see a twitch of irritation in Duke's face, and I hold my breath. I mean, what's happening out there? Duke shakes his head. What's happening everywhere? Duke looks back at the window suddenly, his fur standing on end. I look too, but all I can see are leaves and branches, the late afternoon sun filtering through them. Duke's quiet for a while before he starts speaking again, without turning around. It happened to my granddaddy, my daddy, and now it's happening to me. I close my eyes, wondering if Duke's just as crazy as Brian. If he is, I doubt he even has a clue what he's doing right now. Dale's missing. Cynthia drove off into the desert. I don't know who either of those two are. Duke turns around to look back to Micha. Saw your cat friend screech about on the river road to the north. Sometimes you read a sentence and you're like, how is this going? That doesn't make sense. And then you read a couple words later and it's like, Heather? She had a little revolver, started pointing it at me and telling me to get out of my truck. Micah's brow furrows slightly, but otherwise he says nothing. Tried calming her down, but she wasn't having it. Even fired off a shot in the air before taking my keys and heading off towards her pop's place. Girl was on a warpath, haunted. Thing is, we've all got something after us. Something bad. Won't let you leave when it starts. What's after you? A flinch as Brian speaks just above me, leaning down towards my face. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Bullshit. I flinch again, as Duke's concerned demeanor immediately drops away. Why do you think we came and got to get you all? He pauses, like I should actually know the answer. Sans Micha here, who who is already succumbing to something fierce to his own demons. Bitch. Just thinking of the guy from, like, Breaking Bad. Micah mumbles from across the room. I can see Duke's fur bristle. I feel myself starting to panic again with these two crazy hillbillies looming over my body. I don't know what... Duke slaps me, and I gasp in shock. Hey! You shut your fucking mouth before I stomp your jaw in. Brian snaps back at Jenna before refocusing his attention on me. I saw you two hanging around this fucking town before you even got here. Late at night, looking around. I'm still cringing from the slap, and I keep my eyes closed, as I'm not seeing any of this, as if not seeing any of this is gonna make it stop. And then, once all your friends get here, all hell breaks loose. You think that's a fucking coincidence? It's quiet for a moment, and all I can hear is the rush of blood in my ears. Is this really happening? I feel Duke touch my arm again, and I flinch in fear. Hey. I feel like he wants me to look at him, so I slowly open my eyes, tears spilling as I do. A blurry shape of Duke dances in front of me. I'm not saying you did it, or that you wanted it to happen. I don't say anything, because I still don't know what he's talking about. But I know I can't tell him that. It's just that you gotta know something, anything so that we can stop this. Duke starts to pet my arm, and I shiver. Brian is breathing heavily next to me, and a glance at him shows that his expression is more interested now, almost eager. I think about Leo, swooped over next to me. I want to cry out for help to him, though what could he do beyond get himself hurt more? Sorry, I want to read more, but it's also like, I think I can read more, but all of a sudden it's like, eh. I'm utterly helpless, squirming in my own skin. Duke still hasn't answered my question. It makes no sense that they go so far as to kidnap us. But why? Why didn't you just ask us? Why have all this? I lift my hands weakly, making the platform rattle. Duke's face darkens. Because I've been asking Leo all week what the fuck you guys are doing, and he wouldn't say shit. Saw y'all snooping around the Hendricks place, and he attacked me when I confronted him. You just stood there looking out the window with the same condescending look you bunch have always had. He glances to each of us. Duke stops petting my arm and scratches behind his head. And, someone told me that you would know. Interesting. What is this? I wonder if we're gonna get any information from that. Also reset my face. I stare at him. What? Who? Someone I know. And it makes sense. Something bad's happening. And if you don't fix it, they won't stop coming after you. I shut my eyes and almost sob. Says they know. And I thought it had to be Leo, or you, considering we've been seeing these past few weeks. Duke pauses. Or maybe one of your other friends? He looks over towards Jenna. She's silent. I don't know what you're talking about. I wait for another slap, but it doesn't come. I open my eyes again, and Duke is looking back out the window. We're kind of protecting you too. I stare at the back of his head. Things are getting worse out there, and if you don't figure out something soon, we're all gonna die. Duke's voice is dead and distant. Brian, though, touches my other arm, and I gasp, shrinking away. His He's smirking down at me, looking at my stomach, or crotch, somewhere around there. Brian, stop. Duke is turned back around, looking over me at the bear. We're not getting anywhere right now, and I gotta get to town hall. Even though Duke is the one that hit me, I'm terrified at the thought of being left alone again with Brian. Duke sees my face. Don't worry, Chase. Even though you're lying to us, I don't plan to let this pervert have his way with you. Brian snorts. Brian knows what will happen if he does. What will happen anyways? It's a good question. Because he has all the drugs, he's a little bigger than him, and I think he also has a gun, so I don't know. Duke gives Brian a cold, callous stare, and this time, Brian doesn't give his stupid grin back. But you better fall in line and think real hard about what you're really doing here, Chase. 'Cause I'll be back. Duke heads for the door, turn to look over his shoulder. Just feed him and make sure they don't escape. That's it. And I'll need your keys. What? Brian snarls. Heather took my truck. Remember? You'll get it back. Brian seethes through his large, black nostrils, and I'm strangely reminded of Leo reacting to Jenna's childish chiding earlier. With a grumble, he fists around in his sweatpants pocket. He takes the brass key from his keychain and pushes it into Duke's outstretched palm. Thank you. And with that, Duke bricks. I swear I can read. I haven't been doing too many visual novels, maybe a couple hours, but still. And with that, Duke briskly disappears out the door, a golden flash of late afternoon light illuminating the dim trailer. Brian and I listen to the weasel's soft, anxious footsteps recede into the distance. As soon as the sound's gone, Brian stands up. I turn my head in time to see him whirl around and smash his fist into the wall. Don't do that, I did that and I broke my hand. I jump as much as I can my strengths before he does it again, this time slamming both his fists against the wall. Fucking faggot. So wait, is he also gay? Like, Duke? I know. The bear shoves his remaining keys into a drawer on the other side of the kitchen. He exhales loudly, staring at the wall and muttering something I can't quite make out. Brian remains motionless as he does so, unmoving as minutes pass by. It's unnerving, but also a welcome respite from the aggression being taken out on us. There's a window in the corner of the living room area that's mainly covered by an old wooden bookcase. There's no books in it, just mainly stacks of ashtrays, empty plastic bottles, and old appliance manuals. However, the top two shelves are littered with little knickknacks. It takes me a second, but I actually recognize a few of them as prizes from southwestern adventures. I'm reminded of the stuffed griffin I had smushed in my suitcase back in the motel. If only we could have packed up and gone when we had the chance. There's some other keepsakes stuff back there as well. Lots of stuff from the Blue Diamond Casino on the reservation. Travel cases, poker chips, canvas satchels, and even a mug with a smiling blue diamond in Masede war chief headdress. It reads, Chief Daddy, in big, bold lettering. Why are we looking at all this stuff? It is kind of weird how this game can sometimes be like, and then this person was having this bag that says, for sale, like in one of those shops in the old days, and kind of goes on for a bit, you know? Is Brian a father? The idea seems unlikely. Brian stands on his tiptoes and peers out of the little bit of window still visible over the top of the bookcase. There's a faint popping sound in the distance, like the 4th of July fireworks cracking off. I can't imagine why anyone would be celebrating a time like this. Probably gunfire. They're probably not fireworks. It is Texas. Brian flinches, a soft frown crossing his burly features. Huh. He hums to himself, brow furrowed, as he takes a seat in a faded, corduroy recliner, turning it in place to face us. His shy eyes shift over to me for a moment, and it's like he wants me to say something. I swallow, ooh, my mouth dry as a bone as I begin to speak. Do you think those were gunshots? Worried about your friends? Yeah. Don't be. You should be the worried ones. He smiles a big, toothy grin, composed of what few teeth he has remaining. Oh. There's something familiar about his face now. My mind flashes with images of that smile peering at me from the end of my bed. Could it have been one of the countless night terrors I've seen when my body was still frozen with sleep? Unable to move, just like I am now. Except this is real. His gaze shifts to the rack and mirror beside me, and he's quiet for a while. He suddenly smacks his lips. Keith. He truly was the best of us. Got me wondering what he would do if he was around now. Let us go. Micha's quick-fire response elicits a solemn grunt from Brian. You know damn well that's what he'd do. Golden rule. Ah, so I should hit you with a wrench too then? Got one around here somewhere. The bat promptly stops talking, as the bear starts looking around the cluttered mess that is his trailer. Brian eventually stops, smirking to himself in a strange, nasally fashion. Fucking psycho. So, you want to talk about Keith, huh? Well, alright. Micha doesn't speak this time, letting the bear mull about. First, you gotta understand that I see things. I reckon everybody here does. Just a lot of folk don't like to admit it, or don't have it as bad. When I see things, I see it, smell it, feel it, hear it, taste it, all 6 senses, and what have you. When I was a kid in Peyton, I didn't see shit, even though I had a pretty fucked up childhood. My mom left when I was 6 because my dad was a piece of shit, but you know, she's a piece of shit for leaving me with him. Anyway, you know where my dad told me she'd gone? No one says anything until Brian turns to look back down at Micha expectantly. I don't know. Brian chuckles, and it sends a chill up my spine. The aliens had taken her. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Sorry. I don't want to laugh, or I suck at it. Oops. Went two-faced. Boop. I pressed myself deeper into the wall, wishing I could just disappear in between the wood paneling. I think he must have been drunk, or high, or both, but stuck with me, you know? I look away, trying to make myself look small and avoid any unnecessary eye contact with him. Then, when I was a teenager, I got myself a boyfriend. Well, more of a fuck buddy. We kind of hated each other. I can feel him looking between Leo and I now, and I had the feeling the bear is aware of our former relationship. At least, it felt like that sometime. Fucker wouldn't leave me alone, no matter how much I was saying no matter how much he was saying I disappointed him. Gotta be my best self, or whatever. He talked too much, but he was a good fuck and the only faggot I knew, so I came here every other week or so to fuck him. Things got a little better between us, and he convinced me to help him out with restoring this old bar of 65. It was a complete shithole, but he loved his vices: booze, drugs, fucking, and peddling all that was like a dream to him. But then, something weird happened on one of my trips out here when he wasn't around. I remember the moon was red that night because of the forest fires out west, and I kept looking at it, and that's when I saw a flying saucer, like one straight out of a cartoon, with lights and a dome thing on top. I couldn't believe it, but there it fucking was, floating through the sky. And you know, even though it looked stupid as fuck, I knew. I knew I saw it, and I knew it was fucking evil. I just knew it. Brian finally looks down at me again. That night, and almost every night after, I'd wake up and couldn't move, and aliens would be around my bed. And there was this one alien that I knew was my mom. She didn't look like my mom. She looked like an alien. But I just knew it was her, and she'd do these things to me, sometimes to my mouth and eyes and nose, but usually to my dick, torture me, and it felt fucking real. Brian chuckles, still staring at Leo and I. Fucked me up good, and I blame my boyfriend for it, for bringing me to Echo, because I was sure that's where the evil came from. I outed him that year, skull-fucked him, when his mom was still home, and got him caught, so he had to leave town because of it. Micah's, I think I might have double-tapped that. Okay. Micah's lightly fuzzed face seems to lose some color to that, his wide eyes shifting to the linoleum beneath him. The massive bear shakes his head. Didn't stop the dreams, though. So, he just left all of us behind then? Oh, no. Brian straightens up in his chair. It's creaking loudly. He stuck around the res on account of him being Meseta and all. Oh, reservation. Found him at a gay bar. What does that mean? It means I have an idea. Brian stands up from his seat and disappears into one of the back bedrooms. He calls back to us. Something to pass the time with. Was saving this for Clint, but he's been keeping scarce lately. He comes back with what looks like a step stool, a medical satchel, and a whip? Upon closer inspection, it's not a whip, but a noose, with little bits of metal embedded around the edges. Razor blades. A noose with fucking razor blades. Fuck. Brian gets to work tying it up to a conspicuous hook on the kitchen ceiling. He's incredibly quick on tying the knot, like he's done it 1,000 times before. I can feel my heart pounding in my ears, each blade on the noose glinting with what little light there is in the trailer. I try to cram my neck to look at Jenna, but I'm still having trouble seeing her. Brian smiles down at Micha, bending down and taking the bat's cuff off just as quickly. What the fuck are you doing? Shut up. It'll be okay. Be calm. Don't struggle. Brian's voice reminds me of the children's show presenters, with his squeaky, reassuring voice. The context of his words make it deeply unsettling, and I struggle against a collar restraint whenever he's turned away. I have to get out of here. Brian sets down the stool squarely beneath the noose where the noose is hanging. Step up on the stool. You're sure enough, so this will actually work. You're fucking crazy. Micha reels back away from him, but Brian grabs him by the hand. He starts bending it backwards, and the bat squeals in pain. Okay. You either do what I say, or I'm gonna start breaking every joint in your body, alright? Micha continues to shriek, finally wrenching free after nodding. Okay, okay. Put your head through the noose. I can see the turmoil in Micha's face. 1,000 fight-or-flight responses run through his head. The inside of the noose itself don't got any blades, just the outside, so you can't be grabbing it. Micah stares through the hole in the front of him. Do it! He's about to grab for the bat's hand again, but Micha shoves his head through just in time after stepping up on the stool. I'm in. Good. The bear reaches up and tightens the noose more firmly around the bat's neck, looking proud of himself as he does so. He's cinching it hard until it's clear the bat is struggling to breathe. With a smile, he reaches down and tugs off one of the legs of the little step stool. Brian chuckles to himself as the bat teeters, Micha nearly kicking the stool away. He just barely manages to keep himself upright, with the tip of his toes catching the edge. His cheeks flare as more of his weight is having to hold aloft by his neck. The strain causes his neck veins to bulge. He gasps like a fish for breath, swaying his hips from one side to the other to get more solid stand position. I can see him resisting the urge to grab the noose, and an act that would surely strip his fingers to their bone. Brian meanwhile chuckles to himself, tickled deeply by the display. There you go. Brian is turned away from me now, but even from this angle, it's clear he's rubbing himself through his sweatpants. I'm petrified, wanting to scream out to make him stop, but not daring to make a sound. This is what Duke was warning Brian not to do, and he did it anyway. I closed my eyes, praying to see that weasel again, to put a stop to all this. Don't think I forgot about you all. When I opened my eyes again, he's looking directly at me. Well, you two at least. I mean, given the choice of a bunch of guys and one girl, what kind of queer would pick the girly? He says the word queer with distaste, the bear beginning to reach into his little satchel. He looks at Jenna as he pulls out what looks like a long spool of string. The others tell me you were a bit of a bitch anyway. At least, that's what your brother said. I kept expecting Jen to start speaking, talking him down, full psychoanalysis mode like all those thriller movies. Right now, she's completely silent. Leo stirs slightly beside me, mumbling something incoherent. Brian has scissors now, and he kneels down in front of us. I begin to feel faint as he points the edge of them towards me with a smile. Instead of cutting me, he begins snipping along the side of my shorts and underwear, cutting up to the waistband. I'm kind of wondering how long I can go with this, because it is one long scene, you know? Oh, we might just double back 8 bits to when he, because that's not too long ago. And call it. Yeah, because we're at 38 minutes, and that's quite a while. You're gonna have to figure out what he's gonna do next soon. Unless you want to, I don't know, maybe download the game? You know? Because yeah, in this Let's Play, so comment, because I like comments, tell me what you like, dislike, tips, tricks, otherwise, if you like my YouTube and like to see it grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out every step it grow. And please remember to spay your eyeballs to help control the pet population. And sorry for the yawning and stuff. And if you're interested in playing this game, it's available for free on itch.io, but if you want to support the people that made this game and are making other games, you can go to their Patreon, which is $3 a month. And until next time, another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Echo. So thanks and see ya.